Well, I think I might be done with Niseko. I am grateful to have had the opportunity to come out to a new country thousands of miles away from home, to experience life, people, culture and work in a new environment that has forced me to learn, to grow in a number of ways. You learn things about yourself, what you're good at, what makes you comfortable, what makes you happy. And I'll be honest, the more you do ski seasons, you find yourself more and more weighing up the advantages and the disadvantages of coming out and working this life. And in particular, this year, I've found myself sort of seeing that the pros and the cons are not as worth it as much as it would have been in previous seasons. You know, I miss my family dearly. I wake up every morning and pretty much walk the same stretch of road. It's very repetitive now, and at the same time I felt quite claustrophobic and the need to get out of here. So just kind of like, you know, obviously when the snow diminishes or the snow conditions aren't very good, that has an impact on just how long you would spend in a ski season. And it's well documented now that this is actually probably the worst ski season across all of Japan in the last, I don't know, it's 20-30 years or something like that. So it's not like you wake up every morning and look outside and get enthusiastic to go on the slopes. And I'll do a whole nother video on my sort of actual, I guess, assessment or review of Niseko as a ski resort. But when you look out there and you don't see any point really of going on the mountain, or there's no appeal to it, and all you're doing is getting up, you know, 7 o'clock in the morning, you're eating the same food, having 2-3 cups of coffee before lunchtime, you know, you're sat at the desk, work's not exactly going. The busy period of work passed ages ago. The busy period was at the end of January, and the only reason why we've been as busy as we have been so far is because of the coronavirus. But even then, now the schedule's working back, so I can't. Another thing is I probably can't afford to stay out here for that much longer anyway. And I'd much rather take the money that I've got and use it for somewhere else. Now, my plan was after here was to go to New Zealand. That was sort of in my mind through Christmas and January, and I went ham on the job applications at that time. I thought, get there early. I didn't realise how early actually that meant. Like January was actually peak New Zealand summertime, but I thought, you know, it can't hurt for a few months in advance to sort of apply, and I applied to several ski resorts and sort of property management companies or hotel companies looking for sort of customer service, concierge type roles, because I actually, in some ways, I kind of like the role here. I feel it has more benefits than being a rep, but then also it is boring, you know, sometimes always sat at that desk. So, and all the responses that came back were very much no, or and this was a funny one, from a recruitment company in New Zealand that actually said, oh, come pop in our office when you get here. So without any sort of notion, I mean, and my New Zealand friends tell me that's the way it is, that it's, you know, it's very laissez-faire, you just turn up and relax. But to be honest, I like flexibility and I like freedom, but I also want to know what I'm doing next. I want to know where I'm going to be, so that I have something to look forward to and that I can plan and that I can have an element of structure whilst also having flexibility. Yeah, so nothing came of that. You know, had it done, my plan was to travel around a bit of Japan after the season, and also New Zealand prior to the ski season starting, because the ski season in New Zealand starts in mid-June. But you know, as time went on, nothing came up, and then the coronavirus has hit as well, and it's kind of sort of You know, when you hear that there's a cruise ship docked in Yokohama, just outside of Tokyo, you know, with almost 4,000 people on board, and every single day when we're in the office, like the first thing we do is look on the BBC and you see, you know, 100 more people died in China yesterday, or that, you know, there's been this many more confirmed cases in this country or in that area, and you know, and whether that's home in the UK, here in Japan, which has the most outside of China, and I know a lot of those more numbers are on the ship, but you become a little bit worried, you become a little bit anxious, and you know, there's where we are here now in Niseko. The snow's not going to get any better. We're entering middle of February, and in terms of how things go, you don't tend to get much more new snow by the end of February. So I'm looking at flights to fly home in March, early March I think. Yeah. I've been trying to make this video I think for weeks, just because it's been going on in my mind, and I've had a lot of conversations with friends back home and family, you know, trying to work things out, trying to come up with a plan, and it gets frustrating, and I get down when nothing comes up. But you know, I do have to every now and then remind myself that, you know, I'm still young, and it's good to go to new places, because when you don't know what you want to do, the worst thing you can do is sort of stay home, or not try and test yourself and not try and find out one of those things. You know, at the end of it, I'll probably look back in Niseko when I've fully gotten out of here and look back on it and still say positive things about it, because I will have learned that this is not me, this is not where I want to be, and probably it's not exactly what I want to do. So having so now that the New Zealand went out the way, now that plan went out the way, I then turned to thinking back to Austria, and that's kind of been my thought for the last sort of 2 weeks, and I've been, you know, I really like this line of work a little bit that I've been doing in the property management side of things, and so first of all I started messaging a couple of similar companies asking if there was any jobs for the summer, and I then thought actually about, you know, could I do this myself? Could I run my own sort of self-catered apartment or self-catered ski chalet in Austria? Now, the ways you have to do that, you do have to set up a company, which I like the idea of. It's quite exciting. It'd be too expensive to purchase a property, so you'd have to find someone who's just bought a house, who's looking to get it managed, or looking to get it, you know. So I contacted a lot of the estate agents, and so far not really had any luck there. And again, like when I weigh up the economics of that, again, like it'd be just too hard to, not too hard, that's not the way to put it, but it's just sort of, it's maybe a step too far, you know, in terms of what my next step is. Maybe that's something 5 years down the line, I don't know. So the other thing I'm thinking about is, well, I like travel, I want to stay in travel, you know, but I also miss the family, and I miss the friends back home, and I miss being able to exercise, you know, a lot, go home and hit the gym or play rugby with the team, and, you know, little home comfort things like my vinyl collection, or just, you know, being able to walk the dogs and just catch up with, you know, the people, because you know, I might stay in touch with these friends, you know, for a few weeks afterwards via Facebook, and I might, you know, maybe one or two from the UK I know I still stay in touch with and we catch up with, but you know, your friends from back home you do miss. And I mean, oh, you know, Christmas and New Year this year was so tough for me. I you know, if I'd done a video then and posted it, wouldn't have been in a very good way. It was horrendous. I just sort of, more than normal, I just was homesick, and just wanted to sort of at the same time there was no chance to myself. It's a house of sort of 12 people that you work and you live with, and you never get a moment's peace. I love everybody in the house, but it's claustrophobic, and you can't get that quietness that you get when I live back home, when I kind of live in the countryside a bit. So it's like, yeah, you're constantly juggling in your mind what's good and what's not. But yeah, so I know I've rambled a lot there, and I don't think many points are actually made. It's not really this is kind of just like, again, one of these sort of insights into what's going on with me. And video wise, you know, that's been another thing, trying to think of content. You know, I said I'd make a video regularly. Trying to sort out some stuff to do a video with Ski TV. That's kind of in the works. So yeah, I'll kind of leave it there now, because there's going to be more videos. I've got things planned before I go, whenever that is, and my father's coming out. I'm actually really looking forward to that. That might be a chance for me to kind of just take everything in stock a bit, and maybe have a second thought about it all. You know, being able to talk to someone closest to you is probably quite a good way to deal with things when you're not fully happy. But yeah, yeah.